I'm back at Into Moto, and today it's a bit of a shocker really. I asked them for something big. I've done a lot of 125 videos recently, so I wanted something a little bit bigger. Yeah, I'm sure they're having a laugh with this one though. They've took big to the extreme, so let's have a look what I'm on. Look at the absolute state on this. It's the K1600GTL. It's a scary, intimidating looking thing for a little fella like me, but we'll go around it the usual way. Oh, it's a whopper. Come on, let's have a look. Just look at the sheer size on this. So this bike, it's got a little over a 1600cc engine, curb weight of 358 kilograms. It's going to be my workout today, just to get on the thing and stand it straight. It's got all the bells and whistles, the full luggage. It's got so many extras on this bike, including a heated seat, buttons galore. It's everything and more that you would expect out of a touring motorbike, fully loaded. I'm not feeling particularly strong today, so I'm going to give that a miss. But it has got one which is good for when you're storing the bike. Seat height on this is down as 810 to 830 mil, so it is adjustable, the seat. You can move it up and down. There is a rather delightful, it's like an armchair for your rear pillion, should you want to take one to add even more weight to it. But they would be an absolute comfort there. Look at the state on that. As well as your side bags, you do have this back box as well. Actually looks like a boot with the size of it. It's an absolute whopper. And what I do like, the exhaust, 2 cannons coming out the back. Can't wait to hear what it sounds like. Disc brakes front and rear, cast wheels, tubeless tyres. Buttons wise, I'd be here all week going through the buttons, but in true standard BMW fashion, you have got this menu wheel. We've got buttons everywhere. My thumb is going to be working overtime today. If I just go over a couple of the main ones, horn, you've got your indicators, we've got menus, electric screen, fog lights, we've got hazard lights, we've got cruise control, you've got your flash button, and then obviously you've got the wheel that I've spoke about. Other side, a lot more manageable. Engine start, mode button, and looks like a steering lock there as well. You haven't got any TFT screens or anything to speak of, but you do have nice big speedo, nice and clear. We've got your rev meter there. There is a digital display, I'll show you that shortly. And there's the view from the front. Now it is a couple of years old, this bike, but I think it's carried its age really nicely. Actually, that was considerably easier than I thought it was going to be. That was actually shocking how easy that was. Yeah, I thought I was going to struggle with that because of the sheer size of this. But no, actually once you're on it, it doesn't feel as heavy as you think it's going to. Impressive. I'm actually flat foot on this as well. Not a bad position, really comfortable seat. And I'm not stretching for the bars, sat up straight. We'll see how manageable it is when I'm riding, because it is a bit of a whopper. I'm not going to do much filtering today. No, can't see me doing much filtering. But we'll go for a ride, we'll see what it's like. Try and drop in some more specs if anything comes to mind. Oh, in fact I have got one. 26.5 litre fuel tank. Apparently it'll do just under 40 miles per gallon. Be limited to 155 miles an hour. I might take it on a couple of roads to get the speed up a little bit. Let's go for a ride, see what it's like. Was an absolute whopper. This has got a stereo on it. What I will say is those funny guys at Into Moto proper did me, and as soon as I switched it on, Classic FM was blasting. And I'm not joking. It was a mad scramble, but I managed to get that off.
Visiting the AstraZeneca vaccine site in Speak.
We're not saying that this is something we're going to do overnight, but what we're saying is that we do think it's bad for the economy. And
quite a loud little stereo on there as well. Now obviously for copyright reasons I can't put any of that on while I'm riding. However, that would be a nice little touch that while you're riding around. Let's start it up for the first time. Ooh. That sounds sweet. Yeah, I like that. It's got a really lovely purr to it. Now this bike has got 30,000 miles. You'd be able to get hundreds of thousands of miles out of something like this, as long as you look after it. Right, let's see how this performs on the road, shall we? Let's go for a little ride. Oh. Now first thing is the cobble test. Now this bike is a whopper. However, when you're actually on the move, it's surprisingly light. I'm actually shocked at this. I've always looked at bikes like this and it's just put me off because of the sheer size. I've always thought I'm only a small wee lad at 5'8", and bikes like this have always been a little bit intimidating, but now I'm sat on it, I don't know what I've been worried about, because it's big, yeah it is, but it's really light and easy to maneuver even at slow speeds. It is so comfortable. I think the weight actually helps the stability of it as well, because it is such a big heavy bike. When you're moving even at slow speed, it just seems to be really planted. I would not like to drop it because it's a very heavy thing, but because the seat height isn't too high and I've got a bend in my knee and I'm flat-footed, it just feels really secure when you are stopped. The electric screen, you can operate it on the move. It hasn't got the modern day TFT screen. You have got quite a few different things on there, including fuel gauge, clock, trip computer, you've got your radio, you've got different modes as well. You've got rain, road, dynamic. I've had it in rain mode, I'll try it in road mode and we'll see if there's any difference with that. It does feel a little bit more responsive on the throttle, the change of mode there. Not massively, but it does feel to have a little bit more power about it, a little bit more get up and go. It goes through gears really nicely. What I will say though is it does feel a little bit clunky. Just on your foot, you just feel that little bit of a click every time you change gear. The 1250 BMW GS, I found that to be quite clunky as well between gears, and this just feels the same. Let's give it a go. Now, as expected, it does pick up speed really nicely, but it's more a smooth pickup rather than a brutal, savage one. As far as wind goes, I'm not getting anything from the front. I'm getting a slight bit from the side, but you can't do anything about that. Let's do a little bit of overtake again. It's just, as you would expect, it's like riding a car. That's what it's like, because it is a big, wide presence for the road. But comfort, yeah, there's just no questions about the comfort. It is just a beautiful bike to ride. This really is a beautiful bike to ride. And when you do twist the throttle, it picks up speed beautifully, does everything it's supposed to. Honestly, I cannot stress this enough. I looked at this bike in the showroom and thought, that's ridiculous, I would never have one of those, it's too big. And it's a whopper when you stand next to it. But when you ride it, you just don't feel that at all. A light, sprightly motorbike. You notice the size because you can see the size in front of you, but actual manoeuvring, going round the bends, slow speed, high speed, It's just a delight, this bike. It really is a delight. Let's just lower the screen. Nice and easy to do on the move. From a riding point of view, this bike is amazing. There's no doubt about it. It's an amazing bike. Now, price wise, I would say for this in its current age, mileage and everything else, I'm going to put it down as a used bike bargain. And it's only because if you wanted something like this, if you wanted a brand new version of something like this, you're probably talking 4 times the price. If you wanted a brand new one, you probably are talking close to that mid-20s, £30,000 type. This is considerably cheaper than that, so for a fraction of the price you could tour the world in absolute comfort. Now, I've put the screen down for a little bit, but I've noticed the wind straight away, so no, I've got used to the luxury of the high screen, so I'm putting it back up. I'm blown away at how my opinion of it has changed just off going for a little ride round. From intimidation to admiration to maybe even a little bit of love for this now. This has opened up a whole new genre of motorcycle for me. It has. I know there'll be people shouting at the screen now, calling me a pussy, calling me everything, because I genuinely would never have considered anything like this. I would never have considered it. And yeah, even a bit of filtering like this, where I said I wouldn't do any because it's a bit of a whopper, massive. You just get used to it. Blowing my mind. It really is. It's blowing my mind, this thing. It's not a thrilling ride. I'm not smiling ear to ear. It's not that type of ride. It's just comfort. And you could literally sit on this all day long. You could have yourself sat here, you could have a passenger on the back, you'd both be in extreme comfort for mile after mile after mile. Price wise, if I'm not mistaken, it's something like $7,999. It's not cheap. You'd have to have stupid amounts of money to refer to something that's just under £8,000 as being cheap. However, what I will say is, if you compare it to something brand new of this type, you're talking 20,000 plus, aren't you? So it's a third of the price of anything close to it, considerably cheaper than a new one. So for that, I'm going to put it as a used bike bargain. Now, you'll notice the fuel light has come on. So I'm heading back to Into Moto before I ask the guys inside to put the bike away. What I will say from a downside is there's no way on earth I'm walking this bike forward with my feet. You do notice the weight when you try and move the bike around manually like that. Once it's moving, if you're moving it on its own power, fine, no issues whatsoever. If I try and move it forwards, that's going nowhere. It's just trying to roll backwards on me. Yeah, you're not going to do it. Downsizing, this isn't the bike for you. It is a heavy lump to manually push around your garage. It's a two-man job. It genuinely is. It's a heavy bike to push around. But to ride, to move around on its own steam, absolutely beautiful. I would definitely recommend it. It is available at Into Moto, so I'll put a link in the description. How long it's going to be there for, I really don't know, because this bike is that good, and at this price it's got to be tempting for anybody who's thinking about doing any sort of touring. That's going to do me. Link in the description, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. If you've got any comments about the bike, let me know. You know, the more the merrier. Let's have a chat. Laters.